Welcome to Aquarian Anarchy, everybody. We are live. We are back at you. Let me get our little banner here real quick. I see Daryl's already in the chat. We were ready to go. Let's go, everybody. It is just me, Nicco, and Marcus tonight. How y'all doing, gentlemen? Marcus, you didn't unmute your mic. God damn.
I know, because I'm like that. Liking the Ankh, man, and the shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you.
Nicco talking it.
I'm about to go a black nationalist in this bitch.
Let's go. I want to see it. Let's bring it on. All right, so check it out. I want to take this real quick moment. You know, we do this every show, but this is a special occasion, okay? We have the like, the share, and the subscribe buttons as usual. But I want to send a special thank you to all of our patrons, because if you can see in the little bottom left corner of the screen there, our man Nicco has a new microphone thanks to our patrons. So we want to thank everybody for contributing to the show. If you aren't already, go to the patron. All the links are in the description. You can go there and check it out. Yes, Nicco's showing the love. And also, don't forget, hit that like button, hit the share button. 2 shares to speed the spread of this podcast. We're trying to spread the love everywhere so that we can stop fucking having these murderous wars of the state. And with that, Marcus, launch us into what will be a tirade against mass murder on an organized scale.
Fuck the state.
Let's go.
Fuck war. How about that?
Yeah.
The first thing that has come to mind is I wanted to talk about this particular subject because we have the new bomber-in-chief in charge. Mm-hmm. And as is predictable, every fucking time one of these morons comes to power, they start bombing the shit out of brown people. And let's be clear, it is generally brown people. They don't attack Nordic white people most of the time. No, they attack people in the Middle East, in Africa, or they might get jiggy and bomb the hell out of some people in Asia. But they almost never come after the white people. Not that I think that they should come after the white people. They just don't. And at the end of the fucking day, too many people don't like to hear war is murder. It is nothing less. One of my favorite, and this is a paraphrase I'm going to use, but one of my favorite things that Voltaire said was that basically murder is wrong unless you line up a bunch of people in lines and you have a whole bunch of them and you do it to the sound of trumpets. Then it's okay. Then it's you know, all of those keywords that our anarchs have been talking about, because they've known we're going to do this on war all week. You know, maybe we're defending your freedoms, or maybe, and at this point, what fucking freedoms do we have? We don't barely have the freedom to bitch. So what the hell are they defending? No,
my freedoms are in Iran. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Right, my freedoms are in Syria.
Yeah. And not only did the United States attack Syria in the last couple of weeks, Israel attacked Syria. Yet you might, if you are going down your Yahoo news stuff, you might get one. Now, it's stuck in between something that some Kardashian did and some other bullshit indoctrinated story that they've come up with, right? But they might mention it, and they're just going to barely mention it. They're going to tell you how good it was that we bombed the living shit out of people for no goddamn reason. There is nothing more to war than expanding a state's power. That's all it is. And one of the things that Thomas Paine said about war is that war is not, the taxes are not raised to fund war. War is raised to fund taxes. And that is a fact. They are just expanding their control, their money sources. It is nothing more than a game. And all of the other patriotic nonsense that they tell you that war is nothing more than convincing you to murder innocent women and children because that's what they're doing. They're murdering innocent women and children. Generally, the people that start these stupid things never get hurt. Sure, you might have somebody like Saddam Hussein, and that's the argument they'll use. Well, would you rather Saddam Hussein be in power? No, I would rather no one be in power.
Right. And just in case this stuff is a little too out there for you and everything, that is why we are also simulcasting while we're on YouTube. We are also on LibreTV, because at some point when you talk enough shit about this kind of stuff, YouTube comes for your head, and we're kind of expecting that. And that's why shout out to Saul for putting together LibreTV, great platform. We are broadcasting on YouTube and LibreTV. I have this tendency to say there, but like it's here. Like we are here on LibreTV. Shout outs to everybody who watches us on LibreTV. And I just I hesitated for a second, for just a split second, before I said fuck the state on Twitter, and I said war. I don't even remember what I said, but it was I had to do it. It was a moment where I was like, I don't know that this is going to be received well by the Twitterverse, and it's crazy that they've planted those little mind worms in us that we think about this stuff. That's part of, if you think about it, people use this term, this chilling effect. That kind of helped me to understand what they're talking about when they say that. I don't like, it's a cliched term, but when we're actually thinking about like how we have to say something instead of just telling the truth. I saw something today where they said they have in Australia, they're talking about like stripping doctors and nurses of their licenses and their ability to practice and everything in Australia if they say anything against the stuff that you're not supposed to say anything against. And my response was, but what if what they're saying is true? Like, because we've already had this happen where like the HCQ stuff went through and that got a bunch of people banned, and then they come out and they're like, yeah, you know what? It was like, yeah, we fucking told y'all that shit was.
Wait,
anyway.
Where did you read this on? Where did you?
There's a Telegram group that I'm in that updates stuff on that all the time, and it started off at the very beginning of this stuff. This time last year, this group was very propaganda-ish, and it's kind of tilted slowly to be a little bit more. It's still very heavy on the propaganda side, but it's at least tilted towards some level of balance. And there are enough people on there who are like bringing counter arguments and stuff like that. But when I saw that story, it's like they're literally talking about like punishing people, punishing doctors and nurses if they dare say anything bad about getting that jab. And that's the kind of thing
in our news. They don't put that in our news at all.
Oh, about that stuff? Yeah, no. You have to. That's why I started. Twitter became my news source a long time ago. Not because everything on Twitter is true, but you get articles, you get links to articles that you don't get anywhere else. You get stories covered if you follow the right people. And I follow people I disagree with. I follow people I agree with. That's the kind of stuff I go back to, like the first Iraq War, And there's all this stuff, all this propaganda about babies being thrown out of incubators and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh my God, Saddam Hussein's a murderer. It's the same stuff like what they were talking about with Dr. Seuss, where they started to make, if you didn't want to go to war over there, you were like a Nazi sympathizer.
Right.
And it just became this whole thing that there's always this little mental game, this trick that they have to play to get people to say. And that I even had to, thanks to Adam for kind of breaking me of this habit. I had to break myself of the habit of saying we when we talk about war, because it ain't me. It's not we, it's them. It's those motherfuckers. And they're sending my friends and family members over to risk their lives and potentially die for some bullshit. Most of the time they're going over there for oil companies, bankers, and all these other mega corporations, and the government trying to expand its empire. So
Nicco, tell us what you think about war.
Yeah.
Oh man, war is a very controversial topic, and it should be something viewed a lot more and viewed at a lot more as sick, because we have these things that make war seem so little, such as like I remember as a kid, I had like Modern Warfare 2, and like I was just going crazy, just going nuts. Pause. I was going crazy, and I was like, this shit don't seem that bad. And you get psychologically trained to it and to thinking, or it's not that bad, or it's not impossible to do these certain things. And then you don't think of it at the aspect. You really don't think outside of yourself after like you've been playing and like in that game and in that mindset for so long. So where I'm going to is that I always thought war wasn't that big of an issue. When I say that, how do I word this? Because I want to say war is a terrible issue, but because it is. But I didn't think of it as shit. As a kid, and me growing up and me really understanding the horrors of war and going behind it and what is just fought for is so aggravating. It's disgusting. And hearing about how Joe Biden dropped some bombs, and I was like, so nobody gonna cover this at all.
Right.
Nobody covers this at all. And I'm like, and Hotep Daryl, war is a necessary evil. I do agree with that in a sense of.
Well, I think he's using it in quotes, like that's what they'll say.
It's war is not necessary, but when you have something that is invading you, you have every right to defend yourself. Therefore,
but that's not war. Let me throw down a definition.
Break it down, please do.
Because that's what happens in these kinds of conversations a lot, is conflict is made into war. Conflict and war are two totally different things. If you and I, Nicco, we're out partying or whatever, and you and I both get drunk, and you say something I don't like, and it pisses me off, and in the moment, I throw a punch, and then you beat my old ass up. None of that was war. Not one bit of it. Because war is not between individuals. War is between a state and another state. When we attack terrorists in the middle of the desert, that's not war. That is a warlike action, but it's not war. War is between states. It is when one state decides to conquer another state. And so, and we're not talking about states as in like Illinois. We're talking about states as in governments. And so, first of all, it's that. It is not just violence. It isn't when, for instance, it was not an act of war. And this, I believe, is Murray Rothbard. When Japan attacked the United States in World War II, that was an act of war. When the United States attacked Japan back, that is not an act of war. Because defense is and keeping your own personal borders, if you will, protected is not war. Now, when we decided, and when I said we, you're right, Chad, I fucked up. When they decided to go and attack Japan and start taking land like Guam and so on and so forth, when they started taking land, that was an act of war. You can look at it in this way, and again, I believe that my source is Murray Rothbard, Ethics of Liberty. If someone breaks into my house, that is, and using the analogy, this would be a state attacking another state. If they come into your house and they try to steal your shit and they try to hurt you and hurt your family and maybe kill your dog. It sounded like a cop suddenly. But if they're
I was wondering where you were going with it. Like,
right. But if they do that and you defend yourself, whether with a firearm, with a baseball bat, or you just beat their ass, whatever the issue is, that is not an act of war. It also would not be a act of war if you tracked that son of a bitch down. He got out of your house and ran out the door, ran back to his house. Ain't nothing warlike about that, to go track his ass down and beat his ass I don't care if it's in the middle of his living room. Now you start attacking his dog, his family, or tearing up his house intentionally. Now we're talking about war. And what gets muddied about this is that they glorify, and to some degree, they should glorify the warrior mentality. Maj, as a perfect example, has a warrior mentality. There is nothing wrong with being willing to fight what you believe in. Nothing wrong with that. I'm anti-war and I'm very non-violent. But when you're acting in defense, and you should act with all of your power. But when you start collectivizing what the profits of that war are, you have become a government, and only governments are capable of war.
Yeah, it ends up being this. So the distinction is there's like alertness and vigilance and having like that preparedness to defend yourself. And then where it starts to transition is when, instead of it just being a justice-based defense or a either neutralizing a threat or something like that, like what Marcus was talking about, where someone tries to break into your house, where it transitions is when it becomes purely retaliatory, and it becomes it's the sort of shit that happens where you see two kids and they're fighting over a toy, or they're playing something and they're just kind of goofing around, and then somebody gets, catches an elbow or something like that. Then that kid, it was an accident, but it was in the heat of this little tussle or whatever. Then somebody throws a punch. Then the next one throws a punch. Then the guy, then he takes his phone and throws his phone on the ground and smashes his phone and everything. Now you're getting it into being some shit like, it's like, wait. This has completely become out of proportion. And when you start to do what Marcus was talking about, where you go to the other guy's house and then you start doing shit to his family, to his kids, destroying his home and all that stuff, then it becomes more. And that's where this turf war shit comes from. In a lot of it started with the old organized crime, and you see it now as it's progressed with a lot of the drug trade and all that kind of stuff. Whether it's the cartels or even just the little, street corner where it's like, this is my block. Your block is over there. Stay the fuck off my block. That kind of shit. You have a legitimate right to defend yourself and to defend your property, even using deadly force if when you feel like you're legitimately threatened. What you don't have the right to do is to go and tear somebody else's shit up just because they made you mad. And that's what ends up happening. And then where they take it a step further is now they've gotten us, because they've got us brainwashed into thinking that retaliation equals justice. Now they've created these other events that we can go retaliate for, or they've used an event that actually naturally occurs that they didn't create as an excuse to go over and retaliate, when the retaliation is really just a consolidation of resources. And it's not even to, like, we went to Afghanistan, like there's two odd numbers that are close together, right around the number 10. When that happened, it was a bunch of Saudi Arabians. It was a bunch of Saudi Arabians, not one Iraqi. We go to Afghanistan and Iraq, and we've been there ever since. And to that point, I have to say,
there's money.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's it. And you go back,
that's so much. That's one of their biggest fuelers, and that's crazy. It's like we always say, go follow the money. Or if you guys seen the movie War Dogs?
I haven't.
Yeah, I have. I've seen it. That's the one with. Is that the one with Nicolas Cage or with John Cusack?
The one with Nicolas Cage. I know what you're talking about. But
where he's selling AKs and stuff, and
that one, and then also the one with Jonah Hill and
okay, I know what you're talking about. That one. So okay,
it just goes into detail how these two guys are able to just like fly in somewhere, sell somebody some guns, and fly out, make their bank, and they're inciting a war. They do that all the time. And just like how you said, it goes back to how gangs have their street corners, or you go back, it's all incited, it's all planted there, it's all given there. So they just be like, okay, you know that the cat with the glass, they'll be like, knock that shit over. Sure. So that's what they do. That's all what they do. And it's like they get you caught over here, just like what was happening when we were fuck.
It's hard.
It's all right. No, it's hard. They have conditioned us well. That's all that is. And I'm going to get into some more of the conditioning in a minute.
What was going on when America bombed Syria? What did they project in front of the American people? What was their Wizard of Oz?
There were American. So there was an occupation going on, and the people who live in the occupied place were apparently shooting at the occupation, and they were like, "Hey, you can't shoot at us. We're gonna bomb your ass some more."
Yeah.
It's like it's back to Marcus's point with like the neighbor thing. You know, your neighbor comes over and he's shitting in your yard and everything, and you come out there and you start like spraying the water hose at him to make him go away, so he'll stop shitting in your yard. Like you catch him in the act shitting in your yard, and you're like, "Get the fuck out of my yard! Why are you here? And why are you shitting in my yard?" And so then he comes back and shoots your dog to retaliate. Like, you shouldn't have sprayed me with that hose. Like, you were in my fucking yard shitting. Get out of my damn yard.
And we are certainly in Syria's yard shitting. Just to be clear.
Exactly. So I want to talk, because when Nicco kind of caught himself there saying we, it reminded me of, because this kind of hit home for me when we were leading up to this episode. My daughter's birthday is in 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Happy birthday to her.
Yeah. When she was in utero, and begging to come out, we had kind of like a false alarm. And it just happened to coincide. It was roughly a week early. And it just happened to coincide with the Shock and Awe campaign. She was born in 2003. So, March 19th, we're going, we're in the emergency room going to see if my wife is really in labor and everything. And they check her, and they're checking her heart and all this kind of stuff. And while, she falls asleep, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the news, and I have to admit, like, I'm ashamed of this, but I have to admit, while I'm sitting there, like, I was excited. Like, they make it theatrical and beautiful. And like, you remember the old Brian Williams thing where he's talking about how majestic and beautiful the rockets are and all this kind of stuff. And like, basically talking about how beautiful it was. That indoctrination, that propaganda is so thick and so powerful and so effective. Goebbels is probably dancing in his grave, thinking about this, about how effective propagandists have become, because I was happy. I was excited. My daughter is about to be born, and I'm sitting there cheerleading this stuff while we're murdering people. And I didn't see it. It didn't hit me until years later, when, and I actually, like, the thing that was still holding me back when I was, flirting with the idea of caucusing and campaigning for Ron Paul, was actually his foreign policy. And it was one of the Ron Paul, it was like some guy from Washington State who was like the delegate coordinator in Louisiana. And he basically broke it down, and he just broke it down from an economics standpoint, where he said, look, because I had put this little metaphor together in my head that I thought I was brilliant for putting together. I was like, look, we've been over there. We've already done all this stuff. We've been, and we have, if we just leave, the whole power vacuum thing. But my metaphor was like, we've set this elaborate table in this banquet hall on this tablecloth, and the tablecloth is our presence there. And so if we just yank the tablecloth, like, all the shit's going to go everywhere. So what we need to do is we need to take our time, taking all the dishes off slowly and everything. And his point was, well, when we run out of money, we're just gonna be able to. And actually, now that I've come to understand things the way I do, I don't even think that was that good of an argument. But it helped me to get to the point where I started to see the real, because I think I always felt the immorality of war, but I didn't really like. It was easy to get caught up in the bad guys blew up buildings, we must go get them, Go get them, America, fuck yeah, we're gonna.
I don't remember any of that. Was there like old school campaigning like they did back in like whenever they did World War II, like black and white, like sign up for your army.
Recruiting for
recruiting and getting everybody.
I don't even think
let's go.
I don't think they had to. I actually considered doing the Pat Tillman, and signing up myself and going over there in my 30s to like, I'm gonna go do my part, America, woo, yeah. And then thank God I came to my senses and didn't do that. But no, it was because now I've come to realize that we're not gonna run out of money by going to war.
Other people's money.
War is how. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is the U.S. dollar is backed by the military.
Sure.
It's backed by nothing else. And so war is not going to be the thing that bankrupts us. Mm-hmm. Like you said, war is what funds all this shit. Mm-hmm. And so actually it's where we need to start looking at this stuff is we've got to do a better job of appealing to the morality, the making the moral argument for this. Yep. That this is, and that's the best ad that I saw was that old Ron Paul one where he talks about, what if there was a Chinese occupying force here, and they're in Texas, and they're stopping people every time they go somewhere, and they're blowing up schools, and they're shooting people in their houses from time to time. And I think, do you think maybe some people in Texas might rise up against that?
Right, maybe. Yeah, the thing that breaks it down, and Nicco kind of alluded to this earlier, as many people that have paid attention to our channel know, I had kind of a misspent youth, and I hung out a little bit with some little bitty baby gangbangers when I was younger, and one of them, his name was J-Rock, which obviously wasn't his real name, but for safety's sake, we'll call him J-Rock. He looked at me. We were talking about, because I was in college at the time, and he and I were friends, and we were talking about different things, and he said, "Man, all this is gang warfare." And he was a gangbanger. He was a member of the West Side Disciples, and he said, this is all gang related stuff. Just because they're bigger, just because the government is bigger, how is that any different than Crips versus Bloods? He said, in LA, the Crips and the Bloods started off trying to help their communities. That's how they started. And then they started having territories, and then they needed to defend those territories, and they wanted to defend and monopolize their neighborhoods. That's not any different. And the same people who are, and to my second point that I wanted to make involving this, since the two of you have spoke, all of these movies, all of them, and I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones as a perfect example. It glorifies war. I love Game of Thrones, but you are absolutely cheering for your team, whoever that is, whether it's Jon Snow or it's Daenerys or whoever you like, the Lannisters or whoever. You're cheering for them as they go to war. It's the same shit. They set you up for it in everything that we do. The propaganda is very thick. And what I would challenge people is to explain to me how it is different when a Crip or a Blood defends their neighborhood than when the United States defends their neighborhood by attacking somebody in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yeah, the organized criminals coined the term organized crime to describe non-government organized crime. It was like,
right.
Y'all are the biggest fucking organized crime ring in the fucking universe.
I remember reading a little manga, a Japanese comic and it was a guy basically saying the government is a mafia, the police force is a mafia, and how they move their taxes and everything. And after that, I always like saw the government differently. I was like, holy shit, like y'all do be running sneaky little operations like a mafia. And it's like you guys have such a big extent to reaching into absolutely everybody's pocket and everybody's nook and cranny of their crib. Like, you can run at somebody's crib and be like, we're repoing your house. Just like how the mafia went to the corner store and was like, we need this to launder our money. So it's like, it's no different from them repoing and doing things such as, being the big daddy with the stick, beating niggas' asses left and right.
Right. I do have to argue with you, though. Quit insulting the organized crime, Nicco. They are definitely much more nice than the government. They are much more ethical than the government is. And, an organized crime syndicate generally has some rules. They don't usually attack the family. They don't usually attack the kids. They don't do stuff like that. Well, hell, governments will target the kids. They how many times are they going to bust?
What's that?
I was like, my bad for the disrespect for whoever.
right, for sure. Andy Soprano, we apologize.
The Capone family.
right.
Nicco apologizes.
Right, but yeah, the government doesn't have that kind of ethics. They aren't even concerned about destroying themselves. They developed a weapon, nuclear weapons, that has the potential to kill all life on this planet. Not just your country's life, all life, every bit of it. And
not if I stay in a bunker.
Right, and then where are you gonna move when the food runs out?
Right,
but so,
hey man, Swedish fish and Twizzlers, man. That's you said Twinkies.
Big old fat Nicco. Funny.
No, but finish your point, Nicco. You're because you were on to a good one. That was I'm interested to hear like how did that progress for you as you went through. Like you had that little revelation, like, and then you started to see stuff. What did you see along the way that was like, oh shit, that's what they're talking about?
Besides reading that comic, it's just like, going through like podcasts and like watching and hearing like, wait. Allegedly, I don't know if my brain is playing a trick on me from something, but didn't the United States attack Japan first, or was that bullshit?
Well, they didn't attack Japan, but they did do a trade embargo, and they surrounded them and weren't allowing them to trade, which is an act of war.
So
yeah, I mean, back to that that analogy Marcus was making. Like your neighbor, gets all of his friends to come and stand around your house and not let you leave to go to the store, not let you leave to go to work, not let you come home if you do. If you were already out, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. They don't let supplies get to you. Like, at some point, you're going to feel like you need to do something about it. But I mean, so much of this stuff though is decoy drapery, suspicious skycloth, a word that I will not say, or a combination of words that I will not say, but it's just like those two things. If you know what I mean, it has two F's. Those two words have F's. Yes, that it's a very sticky situation, even as you go back and read through the histories of all this stuff, because even the shit that happened that still seems like it was bullshit. Even that, like, okay, so we did an embargo and that. But is that really what caused it? And go back to like the Lusitania and shit like that. Like, okay, but is that what really happened, or
what really kicked
was
off?
Was it purposeful? And you know what I mean? There's so much of this stuff that we get like part of the truth. Go ahead.
That's exactly it. Oh, what's up, Marcus?
I was just going to comment on what Chad had to say. I do need to kind of give a shout out to James Corbett and the Corbett Report. He has an excellent series on the lies that were told for war. Go check out his channel. Type in war, you'll find it.
What? Wait, can't I just bootleg it? I'm sorry. Is that illegal? Oof.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
But no, what really made me think of questioning the government is when I really found out like a little bit more background on the Library of Alexandria and how it got burned down and all the secrets have gotten stolen away and stashed. And then, Black Panther doing the Michael B. Jordan basically saying that these African artifacts are still in like British museums. And I was like, you got a fucking point there. So it's like,
yeah,
I would, and start to get like my wheels churning and thinking about like, what else do they continuously like take over, manipulate, and then give to you and say, yeah, this is this is a nice hot bowl of oatmeal when it's really just ogre shit. Like that's not
right.
That's not what I asked
ogre
for.
Shit.
So I really just like started to like just pick apart things that just didn't make sense to me. So for this little pick me up thing that they poke in you, it's like, didn't we go through this shit with the Tuskegee people? And it's like they do this shit where it's
here,
like,
have some syphilis.
They're whitewashing Tuskegee now too. They're making it. I read an article about it, and they were saying, well, they didn't actually like give anybody syphilis. They just didn't treat people who had it. I'm like,
that's bullshit.
600 people had syphilis. 600 people just got syphilis all of a sudden in the same little community.
Oh my God.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ!
I think the Mexican American War. They came back with some shit. They gave them some pick me ups. They went over there and they came back with some shit, and it's like, how you gonna blame that on the environment when you gave everybody something to cope with the environment? Get the fuck
or anthrax in blankets.
Oh, yeah.
In the Black Hills. The thing that people need to get out of their mind is that government ever does anything positive. If they're doing something positive for you, remember this truth, that government has nothing. And everything they have, they stole from someone else.
Fact.
And so stop thinking that there are some benevolent person who's going to come in and rescue you. Do they? Sometime, for sure. They fucked over 6 people to give you one thing.
Right. Well, it's I saw somebody did the breakdown on. Let me do the math real quick because this is kind of my jam anyway. But let me do. All right. So let's do one. I have to turn my calculator sideways. 19. Okay, there's 3 zeros. That's 1.9 million. That's billion. That's trillion. All right, divided by 330 million people. Yes, it is correct. So they limited how many people get $1,400 in this stimulus bill. Okay, this COVID relief, the COVID relief package. It's limited to like a certain income bracket. Huh? Go ahead.
I bet. No, I was just saying that my mic is better.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds right.
So $1,400 to people within a certain income range, right? Okay. So that's where they limited how many people get $1,400 for their COVID relief after they spent a year, locked in their houses and not being able to go to work, and their business described as non-essential and all this other kind of shit. People losing their livelihoods and everything. $1,400 after all that time. The bill is $1.9 trillion, which when you work the math out is $5,758 per person in tax liability going forward to pay that back. Because that money, where the fuck's that money coming from? They're going to print it out of thin air, and then the tax man cometh, right? So your little $1,400 is only going to cost you $6,000.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the kind of shell game they pull up with war all the time. They shift around and everyone. One of the things that I found, because I did give that shout out to James Corbett, that I found on his, and I don't remember exactly the name. It's like Decade of War or some shit like that, or the Century of War, something like that. Anyway, is things I did. I get irritated about war and government and all that kind of stuff. But there was a lot of shit in that program I didn't know anything about. I didn't know there is not a conflict that has happened in this country that was not provoked. And this means all the way back to the Revolutionary War, that was not lied about and provoked. Not one thing, nothing, not one thing, and you can research it. And he does it from World War I on. And every conflict is based on lies and is done for the profit of a few every time. And that's what government does. Go ahead, Nicco.
No, it's sick to keep sending boys and girls away to their lives, and it's I want to shake knock on the door and see how many people down this block really know what war is for, or what we've really went to war for. I am sorry. What?
Hey man,
America. That's so sick.
It just shows.
Yeah. Every time you want to say we, you have to say those motherfuckers instead.
Right. Right.
It's the power scales are really tipping now. We can start to see where the wealth, and we've been known where the wealth sits and resides. And so we as the people all are sitting around man, it's getting kind of shitty out here, boys. And we're looking at a forest, and we could build a whole bunch of shit, and we're damn, I guess we're gonna be fucked up this winter. There's a lot of tools and access to resources, while you see some people down the way, down yonder with some smoke, and they got their cabins already set up, and it's the mental understanding of this is just unnecessary. I don't see why people don't click to how war fucks up families. Number one, can we not forget that? It fucking up the fathers, and I mean not everybody statistically, but it sends people back here with PTSD. People are all beat up, and they're safe, they're insured, but really in actuality, if they were insured, they would never be homeless veterans. What fucking sense that make? They go to school. My brother is working on going to school. He just got out the army probably 2-3 years ago. He's been fucked up in the army, and then he got out of the army, and how they just mentally break you. It's very sad, disgusting, and just very unpatriarchal art, whatever the fucking word is.
Patriotic.
It's unpatriotic of people not realizing that our patriotism isn't really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real quick, let me give a shout out to all of our patrons one more time. I want everybody because we've had some people join as we were going on, and I want everybody to get the shout out that we gave at the beginning. That microphone that you see in the left corner of Nicco's screen is thanks to our patrons. So we want to say a special shout out to all of our patrons. If you're not already a patron, go to patreon.com/Aquarian Anarchy, right? Is that where
I believe
anyway,
so.
the link's in the description. Yeah. So go give us some love. We got Nicco's got the background now. We all got backgrounds. I got to get an Aquarian Anarchy background though. I got the Hooked Up Nation hat. Anyway. Also, like and share if you haven't already this episode. And if you're not already a subscriber, I don't know what's wrong with you, but subscribe as well. Also, show some love at LibreTV and show the guys over there some love too. Great group over there. And conversations like these, we don't know how long these kind of conversations are going to be available on platforms like YouTube. So LibreTV is critical in providing that place for free speech to actually remain free. And so I want to give a special shout out to them. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to all the folks who are already our patrons. And I see some of them in the chat. We got Daryl, obviously. We got Free Jeezy in the house. And want to thank you guys for, I think that was, I don't know if there's anybody else. No, we got 8 folks live, but I don't see everybody in the chat. Anyway, Halima, Brody, y'all all know who you are. We appreciate all the patrons. Want one day I'm going to get a whole list and we're going to go through and name everybody. Maybe next week we'll do that. But
remind me, I'll get it to you.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for doing that because that's huge. We appreciate the love, and we are definitely turning your dollars that you are using to support the show into improving the quality of the show. We got better sound quality. We've already got better image quality. You've seen how the show transformed in 2021 from 2020. So with that, let's continue to shit on the state and call war what it is: murder.
Right. Right, for sure. What I'd like to kind of shift to doing, if you guys are good with it, because we've kind of dealt with why war is evil. Let's talk about, Nicco touched on this. Let's talk about the effects that it has on this country, on the people here.
Yeah, no. I couldn't call that, but I know plenty of stories of people saying, yeah, my uncle committed suicide from war, or and TV shows, after propaganda hits you, it hits you in a different light. So like you'd see soldiers going through like their PTSD where they can't even enjoy fireworks, and fireworks are supposed to be all about for you, but not for you. It's the Independence Day, and you know they are somebody who has risked their life to continue on the independence that we so-called fight for. Can I say we on that? Is that allowed?
And everything's allowed, man.
You're talking about what we're told anyway. So yeah, you're dead on. Yeah.
Yeah, and the families and the fathers. Yeah, it's just a lot of mental tragedies that take away and they demonize us and don't make us human in certain aspects as well.
I agree, and definitely the PTSD and what it does to not only the soldiers but the families of soldiers that are either deployed and aren't able to see their families, or killed, or those kinds of things. Both of those people, both of those sets of people definitely get the negative end, and that's real. And the PTSD is real, and all of those kinds of things. But it also, one of the things I want to dispel when dealing with war is that people like to say that, war creates wealth, or war creates the ability to do this and that and the other thing. That's bullshit. Or it makes us safe. That's one of their favorite ones. It makes us safe. So what you're saying is we are more safe with our best and brightest men dead and deployed all over the world.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like at the peak of like productivity and like procreation age. That's where we're taking people. And so if you go back and look, like we're hitting this baby boom. The baby boomers are starting to get into their elder years, but you go back and look at, where did the baby boom come from? It came right after World War II, because there was this idea of, like, I don't know if it's innate or if it was propagandized. I wasn't around in the 40s and early 50s or whatever, but it was like this replacement fucking for all the people who had just been lost. And that, if you think about what happens to a society when you take some of the most productive people, some of the most innovative people, and some of the most procreative people, and you send them off to die and to kill. So even if they come back alive, they've been damaged by what they have seen themselves do and what they've seen around them. It really kind of, it's not surprising that we end up continuing to go in the direction that we've been going in, because again, it's not this isn't a war of defense of our homeland or anything like that, or a position of defense of the homeland. This is going across
Spending
to
empire.
Yeah, exactly. Going across to other places where we don't belong, and making war.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Yeah, the thing is, the negative repercussions of war go on and on and on and on. And, even if you just think about something that Adam House brought to us last year was that all of these veterans coming back, a lot of the problems that we're facing in this country from the police force, and to be clear, I'm not anti-police, I'm anti-forced police, I'm anti-government enforcement. And, if you need a security force for your community, that makes sense. But the problem is they're bringing these people that have been trained to kill, and he said this in our episode. And for those that don't know, Adam House is a friend of ours. We interviewed him last year. He's a veteran of the Afghan War and an activist. And he said, you're taking people that have been trained to kill and bringing them back and putting them in a security force. That's not the same skill set, and so there are endless amounts of negative consequences to war. And I want to attack a little bit of how this, they say that World War II brought us out of the Depression. That's nonsense. We were already, you can look at the economics. We were already coming out of it. And it is the broken window fallacy. Yeah. And and for those that don't know what that is, that means that they say that if you break a window, that you would need that so that you have to get a window maker to replace the window.
Yeah, they say it was Hazlitt described it where he said that they have the this baker and somebody throws a brick through the baker's window. And people are like, oh, this is terrible. And then someone comes with, well, no, actually, it's not terrible because now the window maker gets to make a window, and the person who does like the decal for the logo and everything on there gets to do that again and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, but what about the unseen man who the baker was going to buy a suit from next week, but now he can't buy a suit because instead he's having to replace a window. So all you've done is it's basically the concept of like you destroy something so that then you have to replace it. Well, how does that possibly make things progress? It can't. It keeps you, if you kept doing the same thing, it's the equivalent of the economic equivalent of digging a hole and then filling it back up again and digging a hole and filling it back up again. And the people who think that who believe in the broken window fallacy are the same kind of people who seem anyway
wearing two masks.
No, but they seem to be the kind of people who believe in the labor theory of value, that I put this much work into something, that is what makes it valuable. And it's not. What makes something valuable is whether or not somebody wants it.
Yeah.
So like I can dig a hole all day and then fill it back up all day the next day. I have done a ton of work. Now, where's the value? There is none.
Right.
Whereas a YouTuber can unbox some toys and apparently fucking YouTube
make $1 million
because it helps to sell the toys for the toy manufacturer. Anyway, we've got some distorted shit going on in the economy right now for sure.
But just making a bag, okay?
right.
Because he thought of the idea before you. Granted, it'd be weird grown men unboxing toys, but that's besides the point.
But no, the subjective theory of value to me is where home is. But anyway, so that's the broken window fallacy is one of those that is a perfect allegory for what the fake, the economics of war are used, where it's like, oh no, this is great because now people are working to make tanks and make bombs and all this stuff. Like, so they're not making food and furniture and like, are you fucking out of your mind? Jesus.
Yeah.
So Marcus, have you
go ahead?
I was going to ask, have you had any moments yourself where you considered joining the army or anything of the sorts?
Yeah, I want to first of all point out that when I was 18, I was a communist, and so we'll start there. So of course, I loved the state back then, but I was seriously considering becoming a Marine, and I was a signature away from being put into the nuclear program with the Marine Corps because I had very, very high ASVAB scores, and they thought I would make a really good Marine to work for the nuclear something.
They wanted you to blow some shit up.
They did want me to blow some shit up, and so
Marcus over here like Goodwill Hunting,
and luckily my mother convinced me to give it a minute. Let me think on it for a second, and I decided that no, fucking was more important. So now I have a daughter, and so yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Oh man.
So but yes, I seriously considered joining the military.
You literally made love, not war.
That's right, I did too. And now her name is Brianna.
That's right. Oh shit! Shout out to Brianna. So I want to bring this up because this is. I'm glad that this. So David came in and asked this question: has anyone here read "War as a Racket" by Smedley Butler? And so with that, I will re-show this quote that we use at the beginning of the show because why not? Let me pull the chat down. Anyway, so there it is. I spent 33 years and 4 months in active military service, and during that period, I spent most of my time a high-class muscle man for big business, Wall Street, and the bankers. That is directly from War as a Racket. So, but thank you for offering us the opportunity to oh shoot. Hey, there we go. My bad. I chose the wrong. I just took the other one away. My bad. So yeah. So we have. I have, and Marcus has. I don't know if Nicco has, but Nicco has a shit ton of books behind him. So
look, I have.
We'll have to add War as a Racket to the backlog. I know.
Right.
What time you got to be up tomorrow morning? You still got to be up at 3 tomorrow morning.
3. I gotta get up at 3:30. It wasn't 3, but it's 3:30. And I was drained as all hell today, and I needed some recommendations. So it lasts like 5 minutes of the show. Y'all can hit me with some recommendations for great energies besides coffee, and caffeine, like this shit, because my body and heart have been like, nigga.
Stop. My understanding, not from experience, my understanding is cocaine is good for that. It's not so really bad for your health.
Get this man hemmed up.
I'm joking, obviously, but
oh god, man.
Yeah, just
moringa. I don't know. Moringa is that? Oh wait, yoga nidra powder.
Yeah, that's right. Yoga ninja powder.
No, that's not what she said.
Nidra.
Yeah, yoga nidra powder. It's not ninja. That's not what she said.
I like yoga ninja powder. That sounds awesome. That's what I'm gonna start calling cocaine.
Tasha says, "Where did you get the coke?"
You have to join the Telegram.
Oh shit!
Marcus, you up on the prices.
Oh my god! Shit. I remember playing. Y'all ever played Dope Wars? I had a Palm Pilot like way back when, and they had this game called Dope Wars. You got 30 days, and you got like $400, and like you go to these different places. You'd buy something in Coney Island, and then you'd go to like Manhattan, and you sell it, and and it would tell you like, oh, weed prices are sky high, and so you go sell your weed there. You go sell your weed there, and then you'd buy It was basically just trying to play the market where it was. But then like the cops would come, and you'd have to either choose to try to shoot at the cops or run or something like that. And so and then they if they got you, they'd steal. They would take all your dope and half of your cash. I always wondered why they only took half of your cash.
Yeah, that's not very realistic.
They take all the cash,
right, and all the dope.
They take everything.
And an eighth makes it into court.
Then they take pictures with it.
Right.
They're like,
right.
Oh, and then
I'm just waiting for the cops to take a picture with the big wad of money next to their ear.
Right.
Like they're all
right. Yeah. The thing is,
cash.
Like that meme, that kid who's walking around, he's holding all of it wrapped around his head and shit.
Right.
Waiting for a cop to do that shit.
So I had a buddy that fucking he got busted with a pound of weed. A pound of weed. So he makes it into court. And this is no bullshit. This is Greene County, Indiana. This is the kind of shit I grew up in, right? he had a pound of weed. He goes to his lawyer, comes to him and says, I understand you had a half ounce of marijuana. Yes, you are correct. Yes, I did. Guilty.
That's hilarious. So he didn't have to plead down to a half an ounce.
Nope.
You just got it.
You are correct.
Okay.
So back to war. We've talked a lot about the problems. We did spend, and we could probably talk about this for days. But we've covered the effects overseas, and we've covered the effects here. I want to start, because people are going to be like, well, but what would you do? What would you do that's different? I want to start offering solutions. That's what we're about.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you guys see as a solution?
Let's go. Let's hear it. Let's go.
Segregation. Back to the good old days. But segregation of thought, not by color.
Okay.
Segregation by, it's when you separate. It's like growing apart from something. It's not necessarily the idea, you black, you white, two different fountains. And then like call it a day. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying as in, if you have a certain ideology, you can go live in the Wild West. You can go ahead, tote your guns over there and kick, pick, and plow and have all that. Or you could live in this peaceful area where it's still like the Wild West and everybody's got their guns, but they're not at everybody's throats. So I'm breaking it down to the idea of there's obviously limited to no state involved. Because when there's no state involved, why the fuck is there going to be any war in your residence unless there is a group trying to come steal your Twinkies and they're like real mad because you got the last Twinkies and there's no more production? Then I understand their beef with you, but at the end of the day, there's not going to be a lot of things incentivized. Drugs would be not fought over, the war and oil. Like, we could most definitely produce and do. Okay, I'm creating too many solutions. But the point being is that if you were to segregate the thought and the mindset and how things could be living or could be going, things would be able to be a lot more fluent in a certain area. Therefore, you could pass on better knowledge or pass on better understanding to just discredit war altogether.
Sure. What you're talking about is localization. What you're talking about is taking it down to the each community and that community deciding for themselves. I agree with you. That is a very good solution. Chad, you got any ideas?
You're seeing some of that stuff with Texas and California and a few other. It's gonna start to ripple where you see, and you're seeing some of it even with like this. You're seeing some of these states that are like starting to roll out this like repeal of these mandates and opening things back up and everything. And it's just like, hey, look, we're going to do our thing. Y'all do your thing. There's a lot of that kind of talk already happening. And there's people there. You still have your people who want to say, no, Biden needs to crack down and, tell them what to do and all this stuff. But that's getting, I feel like there's enough of a ripe, for the picking territory for localization to be a potential solution. My suggestion, like I think there's so many, I beat this metaphor to death, but I think it's a good one. For all the different Power Rangers or the different pieces of Voltron or whatever you want to call it, or the different D&D characters fighting a boss, the pushing, through political means, pushing through, and looking for something like what Nicco is talking, that's all part of it. But a big part of it is we've got to do as good a job as we can of doing what we did tonight, having the conversation with people to where people can have the scales lifted from their eyes and start to see war for what it really is. I know that we talk a lot about like not just bitching about stuff and actually providing solutions, but the reality of the matter is, me, and the three of us, hell, everybody watching this podcast, right now live, combined with us, we cannot stop the military-industrial complex on our own. But what we can do is we can continue to talk to people. And the best way that we can do it, just like anything else, is we have to do it. Yes, fuck the state. Yes, it's war is murder, but we also need to find a way to, once we get that trigger where we say war is murder, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? War is murder. My son's in the army or whatever. We have to reach them with compassion and try to help people to see it through the lens that we see it from, but do that by allowing them to keep their lens on until they're ready to remove it. Because just like an addiction or anything else, this propaganda, like we saw Nicco was, and I do it too sometimes still, even though it's been 5 years since I've known to stop using we when we're talking about going to war. I still do it sometimes.
I do that with sports teams, and it's actually really funny that as a people, it's like the competitiveness. They grabbed our competitive spirit,
yes,
and they entangled it into what war is.
Well, look at the NFL. The NFL is sponsored by the U.S. military to do all that military shit before games and everything. That's why the Kaepernick thing blew up and became the thing that it was, is because you had that arm of things that was twisting the arms of the owners versus the public outcry against the police brutality stuff that was those things were at odds, and they were like, fuck, what do we do? Like, these are two of our control mechanisms. How do we reconcile this and make it to where they shut up about and go through all the military rituals before the games, but also we can and so they did a pretty good job. They got Black Lives Matter on the basketball court, and they did all the different things for the NBA, and they did all their stuff with the NFL now, where the NFL has their little token lip service to those issues. But back to the thing about what the point I was getting to about that lens and how like that word we is so ingrained in us. We have to think like the people who we're talking to about this stuff, who still believe in war, who still get patriotic, who listen to the things that they see on TV, who watch CNN and Fox News, and they think they're getting the truth because they watch both. Oh, I'll watch both. I'll go back and forth between the two of them so I can get balance. Like,
been there.
You're getting a balanced dish of the same ogre shit that Nicco was talking about. Exactly. So you're getting that, and you think you're getting it from two different sources. So you must be getting the truth, because you can try to pick out the truth from those two. They're both lying to you though. And so we've got to try to help people to see that in a caring, compassionate way, so that they don't turn us off and turn that volume up on CNN and Fox News. Because that's a lot of times what people tend to do is when cognitive dissonance hits them and there's not like love and caring behind it, their defense mechanism is to do that fight or flight. And most of the time, rather than engage you, they might argue with you a good bit, but eventually you're probably going to lose that person, and they're going to ignore you, and they're just going to go turn their propaganda up because it makes them feel safe.
Sure. And I think that safety is where I kind of want to go with my solution. Chad, I agree with everything you said too. I think both you and Nicco have been spot on. But one of the solutions that I want to kind of offer is an understanding of history. And that is one of the arguments that people like to make is, if it were not for our big old powerful military, China or Russia or whoever the boogeyman for the day is going to come in, they're going to kick us all to shit, and they're going to beat us up. I want to point them to a particular war that they've never heard of. And if anybody has paid attention to this podcast for a while, you've probably heard me talk about it because it's one of my favorite stories. And that is Red Cloud and the Sioux Nation. What most people don't understand is at the time, just after the Civil War, there was an uprising in the West. And when I say the West, the Sioux controlled 1/5 of what is currently the continental United States. So this was not some little tiny, backwood somewhere. This was a shit ton of people. and a bunch of tribes, largely Sioux, some Cheyenne, and various other kinds, but a bunch of different bands. What they managed to do against, at that time, one of the most powerful, we had not raised ourselves to the most powerful, but one of the most powerful nations in the world, they defeated the United States military unconditionally surrendered to Red Cloud after a 2-year war. And it was a war because the United States government was seeking his land, and he beat the living shit out of them with sticks, bows and arrows, and spears. And how they did it was because when you can't be seen, when you are hidden, when you blend, when you are a militia, that militia is very difficult to win against. The United States, what became the United States, the revolutionaries in the Revolutionary War, won in that vein as well. Right. But the best evidence that it can be done was Red Cloud in the Sioux. So what makes me certain that we can defeat war, and what makes me certain that a free people with a militia defense can defeat them, it was what Red Cloud did. I don't know about y'all, but I don't have sticks and bows and arrows. I got guns. I got things that go boom. And I'm gonna fight. And so if China decides to get jiggy, and Adam has pointed this out on more times than I can count, but do you really think that if the United States people said, fuck this government, that China's just going to waltz right in? Here we go.
Yeah, no, that's and that was one of the most beautiful and succinct, the way that he put it in Freedom is, the best national defense is a well-armed population that refuses to be governed by anyone.
Absolutely. And that's what we are creating. Derek Bros talked about, is it time for an anarchist army? And my answer to that is no, we already have one.
Yeah.
Let them fear us. Let them be afraid. Let them know that there are anarchs all over this world. Every corner of every nation has us. And we're armed, and we love freedom, and we believe in ethics, and we're going to defend our families. So once again, the solution is a well-armed militia, and we got it. We already have it.
And if you're not part of it, become part of it as soon as you can.
Patreon.com.
To the extent that you can start to So that Patreon.com. We're getting some gems in there. There's some great. Join the Telegram chat. We got some good stuff going on in there. 3D print your way there, or if you can still do it in your state and in your locality, go get you what you need. I'm not going to say the words because we do want to keep this. It's just weird how they randomly take people down for shit. I want to freely speak my mind and everything, but I also want to be able to continue to speak to you. So I will speak my mind in code so that I can still speak to you. Yes, Nicco?
Being in code, we can't physically say it, right?
I mean, I don't know. I just try to be careful just in case.
Because I almost definitely write some stuff on a dry erase board
and hold it up.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that'll get caught by the algorithm. Yeah.
Or you know what? Here, I'm a create a false promise and create what is it? A Morse code for our Telegram troop.
You're gonna have a cipher. We're gonna have a cipher. We have to go get a Chinese food menu and everything. And by the way, speaking of which, I started watching Mr. Robot, and I really I dug the show to start, and then they went the whole statist route when they describe. I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but they basically Mr. Robot. It was on USA with Rami Malek. It's pretty good. It's a solid show. It's a good show to watch. But no, they went through this whole they got to the point where they did basically Silk Road. They had a site that was like Silk Road,
free raw,
and the whole thing is nothing but imprisoned Vietnamese or Thai prostitutes or something like that, or like hit jobs, or it's all this like. And I'm like, bro, that's like they took Silk Road down because Bitcoin was being used for all kinds of things that were not taxable or trackable. And yes, you had a sprinkling of some of that stuff in, but that's not the exclusive purpose of Silk Road. And then on top of that, what the fuck do you think they pay for that shit with now? USD. You're not fucking ban USD and the Fed. The fuck out of here. That's all they did. The Fed eliminated their competition. That's all that was.
It was anyway, a monopoly. They defended it.
Yeah. But all right. So since I don't know, I think we've kind of like we've done the war thing. Yeah. I want to, folks, before we started this show, I brought an idea up to Nicco and Marcus. And so we're going to do it now. We are going to ask for your feedback real quick on a couple of ideas that I have, new concepts for the show, for little segments that we're going to try to do on the show. Yeah, we're trying to spice it up a little bit. And also, we may be asking you guys for some of your suggestions. So the first suggestion that I had was that when we have a guest who is not either avowed anarchist or libertarian or already kind of in our camp, what we are going to do is we are going to have a little section that we are going to call the Aquarian Anarchy Indoctrination. What do we call it? Aquarian Anarchy Indoctrination Chamber? Yeah, that's it. Yes. So where we're going to take them into the indoctrination chamber, and we're going to basically try to red pill them or yellow pill them or whatever you want to call this pill. And we're going to have fun with it. It's going to be funny. So I want to hear what you guys think about that. So drop a 1, or if you're in favor of that. Drop a 2 if you think it's not a good idea. The other idea that we had was to just kind of do like a little rapid fire, like get to know on a more human level, like not necessarily about the topic that the show is about for that particular episode, just to kind of lighten things up a little bit. So we were also thinking about possibly doing that. So for that one, we will say a 3 if you like that idea, a 4 if you don't like that idea. I don't see any numbers in the chat, but what's that?
So what you said, going back to the red pill, yellow pill, whatever pill. Just the heads up. It's grounded up mushrooms. You're going on a psychedelic trip. I'm fighting you guys.
It's a multicolored pill.
Yeah, right.
It's a multicolored pill, and the colors are moving and merging with each other and everything. Sure. Dancing elephants.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, man. I got some new weed. It's damn near that good. Woo, good stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait to take care of this business, man.
Sketch Therapy says call it a neurolinguistic deprogramming session. I like it.
I like it too. But and I want to kind of speak to the audience now. I want you guys, even the ones that are not in our Patreon group, but catch us pretty frequently. I really do want to thank you, and I do appreciate your contribution, and I would like to hear more of it. Bring it. Give us ideas. Think what you would like to see us do, who you would like us to talk
guests. If you got some ideas for guests, I mean, I've got some ideas. There's a whole roster of folks in the Hotep or Hotep adjacent community that I'm planning on asking to come on. I'm not gonna say names right now because I want to give them the courtesy of asking them privately before I reveal that. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We've got a really cool 2020. I hope y'all have enjoyed 2021 so far, but we're trying to.
I've been loving it. I've been loving it. It's been great.
Nicco's banner looking crisp in the background.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
And there's still room for his fucking library.
Oh man, I actually switched up my bedroom because it's like this is a laptop, and when I get the camera, I'm gonna have to move over to my computer, and banner is like right here, so I'm gonna have to reorganize my room, and like
you don't want to do that.
That's a dead mission right there, Chief. But I will figure something out, or by that time I'll move the fuck out of here. But, either or, I most definitely plan to be taken care of and being taken care of. Yeah, but much appreciated to all the guests.
The mic is sounding hot.
No. This is I just really, and this is for future reference or in advance. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry for my dad blasting his fucking music in the background.
We don't hear it.
We don't hear it.
No, not now. This is for future reference.
For future reference. Oh yeah. Okay,
if you guys just see me like doing this, it's his fault. I'm just trying to warn you guys now.
I have to tell everybody though, like we got a taste of it before the show, before Nicco told him to turn it down, and I'm not gonna lie, like it would be a pretty fucking dope soundtrack for the show. Like I did not mind it.
Play some background music.
But we had the steel drum rolling. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. I felt like I was outside at like an outdoor concert, and I was just sipping on. I was in the Caribbean, outside at a live concert, and I just wanted to sip something with a fucking umbrella in it.
Hey, can I talk my shit real quick? I just called it the Caribbeans, and white people really got us fucked up calling it the Caribbeans when it's like the Caribbean. Like
my wife is Cuban, so I say Caribbean.
And like they made the pirates white, and I'm like, do we not see this? Like, I caught on to it like when I got older, but the concept was dope. Jack Sparrow was that nigga, but yeah,
but he wasn't.
He wasn't.
They made him dirty. Not black. They made him dirty. So it's like
with like black fingernails and shit.
You feel me? They made him a drunk alcoholic, and it's like black people don't. I'm gonna let y'all have this one. So like I'm gonna try and do like a live action pirate movie, but we're not taking over boats and saying I am the captain now. Like, no, we're not doing that shit. We're on some real motherfucking boats, like turning with the motherfucking seaboard and shit like that.
Nice.
Y'all aren't gonna
They stole the Pirates of the Caribbean from y'all and gave y'all the Pirates of Somalia. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
So. Well, guys, I think that we might be at a point where we're about to wrap up. This has been fun.
We got all ones, by the way. So the Aquarian Anarchy Indoctrination Chamber is coming. Get ready.
How about it? I like it. So just to give a little bit of my ideas with one, I really do think because I don't give a shit to shout somebody out. I really do think I'm going to pull the trigger on Walter Block soon, and I'm going to see if I can get him to come on because that dude, man,
I might see if I can get him to drive over. It's only an hour away.
Shit, that'd be
He's in New Orleans. He's in New Orleans. Although I'll have to tell my wife, like, hey, you cool if this old man comes up in our bedroom and sits down at this table with me? Does his podcast
right?
I'd have to. I would also have to move. I'd also have to move this whole setup back.
He can.
I don't have very much room, but no, he can do it from his house. It was just funny because
I'm
he's close.
You what, if you guys ever get a chance to read some Block, this dude impressing the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Nicco. You were saying?
I was going to say I would love to do something planned in 2021 where we have like a meeting and all three of us are in the same room.
Absolutely.
And we do a podcast that's
no fucking doubt. It's happening. It is going to happen.
Got two cars that function now. My second car that was the old car was in the shop and get it back tomorrow. So I have two functioning cars. One is a Nissan that has fantastic gas mileage. So,
wait. Another thing. If anybody has a good lawyer in the chat, I might need you soon because I might have to come for some throats. And I won't say it now, but after things fill out better.
In Chicago or anywhere? Because I have a few good lawyer friends, libertarian lawyer friends here in.
As long as I can talk to them about certain things and it benefits me and the people that I'm talking about it, and because I'll tell you after the chat because I don't want my shit recorded. But at the end of the day, yeah. But thank you, everybody. What were you saying, Marcus? I'm so sorry for.
I was just saying we're going to be able to get together soon. I think that that's a real possibility, and I think that that it would be. But I really like the thought at some point of getting not only us together, but our anarchs together, because really starting to enjoy some of the people we're getting close to. I think our community is growing, and I think that we're still small. I'm okay with that. You know, we'll be as big as we're going to be, and I really enjoy.
Shout out to the A1 from day ones, though.
That's right.
We love y'all. We love y'all
for sure.
All right. So
I ain't got no baby mama drama. No. Don't put that on my name. Don't you do that. Stop that right now.
So Sketch Therapy says Benny Willis. I don't know Benny Willis. I'm gonna have to check him out. Says he's comedy focused centrist more than anyway. All right. So and then he also says James Evan Pilato. I don't know that one either.
I know James. I know Evan Pilato. He is the co-host of I can't remember the name of the show, but he does it with James Corbett.
Okay, shit. All right.
Yeah, and would love to have him on.
That would be great.
I reached out to James for Adam, and he won't answer. That may be an Adam thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
All right, and then Harry Vox, and then that's when the baby mama drama stuff comes in, and. Come on now. Who said that? That was Free Jeezy. Come on now. Don't do that to my man, Nicco.
Give him shit in the Anarch chat, Nicco.
Bring the air fryers. Bring the air fryers, Natasha said. She's throwing some Jean Core shit on us. All right, I got you. Oh, shoot. I think that's it. Oh, James Corbett is definitely fantastic, but that would be I'm going
to watch some Corbett report, see what that do. See if that propaganda is heavy,
dude. I'm telling you,
I would watch a couple of episodes and like parts and pieces, and my brother was like, "Yeah," but I thought he was just like another old bullshit. Like, and like what blows my mind is like he goes in on this shit, and people are like, "Oh, that was old America," or that was like 5 minutes ago. Like,
right. Yeah, his special on the Fed is fantastic. James Corbett's definitely. If I can get him to come on here, man, we may never get off. I'm just telling you. Pause. But
I was about to say, man, if you weren't going to say it, I was.
All right.
Oh man.
But
great show, boys. What we gotta do is 2 shares.
2 shares to speed the spread. That is right.
Come on now. And
if you haven't already hit the like button, we got you got a little bit of time. We're about to head out here. Nico's got to go to bed so he can get up for work in the morning. But no, we really appreciate everybody. Go to the Patreon, our Patreon, and become a patron. You can join the Telegram chat. We need to, again, I need to remind you, we need to re-ping everybody who's already subscribed at the Telegram level to make sure that everybody's in there who wants to be in there. Because I don't think we have everybody yet. But come in there. We have some very, very interesting conversations in there. Some very useful information being shared by both Tim and Halima and Daryl. And every now and then, me, Nicco, and Marcus have some useful stuff to share too. But no, we really appreciate you guys, and we ask you to come and continue to join us for this. And also, if you can, go to the Patreon and join us there as well. But be sure to like and share this fucking episode. I know you're already a subscriber, most likely. But if you're not, and somebody shared this with you, become a subscriber, hit the bell icon so you can get the notifications when this shit comes out again. And we will talk. We're going to do the same thing next week. It's just going to be the 3 of us. We're going to just be flapping our gums about. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week yet.
There's going to be some bullshit.
We're probably be talking about current events, whatever fucking bullshit hits the fan.
Just wait.
Exactly. They
might actually have pigs fly. You feel me?
We might be talking about this stimmy. I might dig into it a little bit. This big bill that $2 trillion of bullshit. Huh?
however many. I think Stahl said that it was like 800 fucking pages.
Okay, then I may not be digging into it because I said I was going to last year. I said I was going to dig into the one that Trump did, and I got about 18 pages into that shit, and I was like, bro, I got shit to do. Like, I don't have time for all this shit. And that's the thing. That's the jokes, right?
The rhetoric on it too is like unnecessarily like, why do you put this to that? Like, you know, you could just make this word a lot easier by just simplifying it, but instead we have to add the certain kind of literature to make sure that you can't comprehend what we're saying. Yes, I get you. We're stupid, but you don't have to.
Well, like the HR 127, they did the same thing. There's stuff in there where there's like they'll just refer to some other shit, and you have to go look up that shit to like. In addition to having to like have like Black's Law dictionary with you while you're reading it, then you have to go to refer to some other documents so that you can figure out what they're referring to. And then you figure out like, oh no, they really are saying that if you have a psycho ex-wife or psycho ex-husband, they can tell people that you're too psycho to own a weapon.
Yep.
And they'll just be like, says right here that you're a psycho. You can't own a weapon. And that shit's in that fucking bill. And it hasn't officially been pushed forward and everything, but it is on the docket. It is written, and it has no co-sponsors yet, as far as I know. But yeah, it's that's the shit they do. They
Sheila Jackson Lee's hat.
Yes, they use a lot of legalese and a lot of I don't know, backlinks to other shit, to old shit and everything, to where you have to be a lawyer or you have to know this shit, backward and forward to really understand it. Unless you want to spend, 10 hours digging through it to get to the nitty gritty of it. But I don't know. Do y'all got anything else? I don't have anything else.
I would just like to say thank you, my people, because
I
can rock out with my mic. And actually, this will be a segue into a lot more things I'm going to actually talk to the boys about. But this will most definitely spring, whatever the word is, it will help me get to places further. And thanks to you all and my people who it's that way and that way.
Yeah. That mirrored camera fucks you up, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sure the fuck does. It helps out. And then, if anything, please hit us at the end of the show. Hit us with things you want us to talk about next week, or if join our chat. We'd love to talk to you guys. It'd give me a reason to get on my phone a little bit more often. I hate this bitch, but at the end of the day, please like, share, subscribe, and 2 shares to see it spread. And yeah, I give it to my people. Yeah.
All right, Nicco. Lay off of it, man. Chill.
Love you, brother.
What do you mean lay off of it? I need more sleep and less caffeine. I drink
more weed.
If you guys you guys are the devil. I'm trying to stay
shit. All right, man. Tell us what to do, Marcus. Love everybody. Y'all be excellent to each other. Yep. Stay free. Peace.